Hey everybody, hey design friends, this is Cindy Allen, Editor-in-Chief of Interior Design. Today is a very special day. One of our most respected American manufacturing companies, a recognized global leader in kitchen and bath, oh yes, Kohler, will take over DesignTV today. Oh yes, with 2 hours of in-depth interviews, new product launches, and of course, design. And there is no better way to kick this off, and what an honor it is to chat with the president and CEO, fourth generation in this American dynasty, and my good friend, David Kohler. Hi, David.
Hey, Cindy, thanks so much. This is a great opportunity. We're super excited to be here, and thanks for kicking it off with me.
Oh yeah, you and I together. We're always kicking things off together, that's for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, it's awesome. We're very excited to be here.
First of all, how are you guys doing? Listen, COVID has changed everything, changed the world. We've had to pivot, right? We started this DesignTV channel like almost immediately. Can you share how all of this has impacted Kohler and how you've been adapting?
Yeah, we really can. It's been a tremendous experience, I must say. As challenging as it's been, we've really found new muscle, new strengths, and we created this ethos from the beginning when the crisis hit, about Kohler Strong and how do we come out of this stronger, smarter, faster as a company. And if you actually look at the Chinese translation for crisis, it's danger and opportunity. And we thought about it that way. How do we get stronger, but how do we come out better at the other end of this? And it's been a difficult journey. Certainly, some of our colleagues in China faced it first as that economy went down, as the pandemic hit China first, and then it went to Europe, and then eventually to the United States. But we learned so much along the way, which was amazing, from our teams in these markets who faced it early on, and how they took control of their business, they protected their associates, protected our customers and supply chains, and persevered through it. And of course, the safety and health of our associates as well as our customers and trade partners was of paramount concern. So we spent a lot of time initially making sure our operations were resilient. We had to shut down some in different parts of the world for periods of time. And then in other parts of the world, we were deemed an essential business and we were able to operate throughout this period. So it's really been interesting learning how to do business in a virtual way, as all businesses have. But we've done really well. We've been very proud of how our teams have come together with our customers, building actually stronger relationships. Is just like this communication. You can find ways to communicate different and even better in a more intimate way, more frequently, with your important customers through this type of situation. So by and large, it's been very interesting in finding new muscle. Our China business has come back very well. It had the first dip, but has come back in a V-shaped recovery. The U.S. has been very resilient throughout this. I would say in terms of new construction, remodeling, the activity has continued to be very strong. There are some pockets of commercial activity that we think will weaken in the future as the pipeline drives up. But by and large, the U.S. market has been very strong. And then other markets around the world are still in lockdown, like India is just coming out of that. But overall, we've been very impressed. Our largest businesses here in the United States and China, in kitchen and bath and power generation, have been extremely resilient, while some of our others have been more impacted. Our hospitality business here in Destination Kohler has been heavily impacted, obviously having to shut down, but it's now starting to reopen. And so we're pretty optimistic, albeit we're still not out of it yet. Obviously, we're watching the science here in the United States and in Mexico and really the Americas, because I think we're further behind the rest of the world in containing the pandemic. So we have to be very cautious and careful as we navigate forward and build more resilience in our business.
I heard from designers, designers in Germany who were doing a lot of work in China, and so they said they were completely prepared in a way that many of us weren't. And as you said,
Yeah.
all your partners over there. So I imagine that you did really know what was happening quite a bit before everybody else.
Yeah, there's this whole concept recently called the gray rhino, and it's something you see coming at you, but you fail to respond to it. And honestly, as much as we saw this coming sitting here in the US from China and from Europe, I think the US wasn't fully prepared for the consequences of this, to be honest. But our teams in Korea and China really led by example, and they've shown us what discipline, testing, tracing, isolation, self-distancing can do to protect the society and protect the economy. And we've certainly tried to take that to heart in our operation and business, where we've taken it very seriously from the beginning. And I think it's saved us significantly in terms of having to shut down less than other businesses, as well as the health and safety of our associates. But as I said, we're not out of this. There is no we're not going back to a normal way of being for a long time, certainly for the next 18 months. And so we all have to be pretty diligent in managing through this.
I do love what you said, and I want everyone to hear out there, because I believe in it too. I always say this, like, every threat is a hidden opportunity.
Yeah.
And we have to keep remembering that so we can get on the other side, right?
Yeah, exactly. As it's been said throughout this pandemic, this has accelerated pre-existing trends, whether it's the streaming trend, the online trend, e-commerce trend, services trend. All of these things have been accelerated and will continue to. So we have to pivot and adapt as a business and as a society to them.
Yeah, yeah. So, David, we are kind of living in a dual crisis right now, because obviously the pandemic is the first. How is the company responding to the Black Lives Matter movement, and how are you addressing these social injustices?
It's been an incredible time of kind of pain, sadness, reflection, and learning for all of us. And as much as terrible about the events that happened to George Floyd and around the country, it was this wake up that the United States and the world needed, unfortunately, to really recognize the depth of the systemic issues that still exist in this country that haven't been dealt with, that are causing this type of racial injustice. So again, I think, trying to find the good in something that's very bad is going to be a difference maker for our company and for this society. I truly believe there'll be more traction, inertia, momentum going forward for real change than we've seen in this country since the 1960s. So what we're doing as a company is reflecting, learning about our own issues inside Kohler, because we have to make sure that our practices and way of being are doing the right things to manage race and people of color within Kohler Company. And then we're also trying to understand, what do we have to do? What can we do to make a positive impact on our communities and at the national level against specific issues that are causing and perpetuating racial inequality in the United States? So we want to use Kohler Company as a force for positive change, just like our stance on sustainability. How can we be a positive organization for change in society? And so in that sense, it's energized us. We're turning it into a real turning point and a positive turning point. And there's so much energy in our company around this. As you know, in broader industry and society, there's so much energy of people wanting to do the right thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're seeing this at the grassroots level throughout the company, and we're creating a lot of change already, reaching out to historically Black colleges and universities, working with trade associations that have been built around people of color, and figuring out all the things that we can do business-wise, philanthropic-wise, working with suppliers owned by minorities. What are all the things we can do as a company to be a force for good? So in that sense, I think it's been very positive.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear. You're a leader, and people will follow. So taking those kind of actions is amazing, and I can't wait to continue to talk about that together. Okay, so I want to get to the history of Kohler. So I just want to tell everybody out there about 5 years ago, we worked together on a conference, and it was called the Kohler Design Affair. And Kohler brought designers in from all around the world, and we had a few days together. We've done it 3 times now, actually. So I'm used to actually seeing you and giving you a hug in real time. But you know, when the designers come to Kohler and have a chance to really see the culture, you also teach them a lot about the history of Kohler. So most people wouldn't know that it's 147 years old. Unbelievable. We're only coming up to our 90th, and I feel like that's pretty significant. But also that you guys started in the farm equipment business or something like that. So give us like a Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, just a
some
clip.
of the highlights of the history of Kohler.
As you said, we're 147 years old. The company was founded by my great-grandfather. He grew up in Austria. He was the youngest of 15 children. And all of the children went into farming except him. He was lucky to immigrate to the United States with his father when he was a young man. He grew up on a farm in Minnesota, but he decided to go to university in Chicago. And after university, he became a traveling salesman selling furniture north of Chicago up into our area in Wisconsin. He fell in love with a young lady who lived in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and her father owned a cast iron foundry. So he was able, after they got married, to buy into the cast iron foundry, and they made farm implements, all sorts of things. But one day, in really out of panic and necessity, because the U.S. in the 1880s was in a bit of a financial crisis. So he had to be creative. He took a horse trough hog scalder, he furnished it with 4 feet, enameled it, and created our first bathtub. And that's what got us into the plumbing business. And then just like we continue to do today, that entrepreneurial spirit of innovation and growth, you started creating more and more household products out of cast iron, from water closets to sinks to lavatories. We even made an electric sink, a forerunner to a dishwasher at one point, but all sorts of things. And then expanded over time into brass for faucets, into ceramics, and all the materials to build products for the home in the plumbing category. And that's the germ of how we got started as an organization.
No, that's so amazing. I mean, when you go to Kohler, there's a small museum that has some of the old pieces, and the designers go crazy looking at that, right?
Yeah, we go crazy too, because we look back at some of the great designs throughout history in the 20s and 30s, and we're saying, my goodness, I mean, just the level of design then, and that really speaks to what we're most passionate about. Just like the audience here today, I mean, we're passionate about design and creating beautiful things and the creative process, and that's what we enjoy most. And you can see that thread throughout the history of our company.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, when you think about 147 years old, is that you did a lot in times of crisis. Like, you move forward in times of crisis. So I imagine maybe the word resilience would be a good word to describe how you can move forward.
Yeah, you know, you're exactly right. And in times like this, you reflect on that. It's the perseverance, the tenacity, the belief in what you're doing, and that just sheer will and humility to get through it. And our company's been through 18 recessions, 2 depressions, the recent global financial crisis, and then this pandemic and recession. We've been through it all, and this combination of strong principles, values, and this tenacity, this is what sees us through, and we'll come out of this again stronger actually than we went into it.
No, it's amazing. Okay, so I want to talk about sustainability. So this is what I thought we'd do. I know that Kohler has a long history with your sustainable efforts. So I thought maybe I could name some of the programs and you could talk about them. Okay.
Sure.
All right, so number 1, the net zero goal.
Yeah. So around 2007 and 8, we looked around the world and just felt that we were, you know, the world was ignoring climate change too much. And we've always been an environmental steward, but we felt that we had to do more. And we wanted to create a positive approach to sustainability that just wasn't about doing less bad. It was also about innovation. And so we created a big, hairy, audacious goal at the time. How do we drive down our environmental footprint aggressively through the future, and with an ambitious goal of net zero by 2035, with an interim objective of reducing that environmental footprint 3% every year. And it's been an amazing effort ever since. If you look at our water consumption, if you look at solid waste, if you look at greenhouse gas, we've steadily reduced those in significant measure every year since. So it's really been a turning point for us to make a more aggressive statement and then drive that through action. We've never been about greenwashing or using our sustainability strategy as publicity. It's an internal strategy. We want to lead by example and show other companies that this idea that you can't be a capitalist or a successful business and be an environmentalist and care passionately about the environment, you can't be both of those, is wrong. You have to be both of those. You have to create a business without compromise that can be a successful business, but a business that does no harm to the environment. And ideally, over time, is a net positive contributor to the environment. And that's our idea going forward, is positive by design. How do we make sure that every product we create and design actually has a positive impact on the environment going forward?
I love that, positive by design. That's amazing. Don't you think, because you're a global company, I mean, folks in the States that are specifying you in the States, they do think of Kohler as being American, but being a global company is a completely different story. And you kind of understand that kind of social impact in a much deeper way, don't you think?
Yeah, it gets back to diversity. Just, diversity on a team makes such a difference, and diversity of business around the world. So being exposed to our second largest market in the world, which is China, one of our most strategic markets in the world, which is Africa, our business across Europe, pioneering a new business across sub-Saharan Africa and Latin America. All of these cultures, experiences, business, people coming together and really influencing and help shaping our point of view on the world, on societal issues, as well as design ideas that can design appropriately for these markets. So it really has made us a better company having this global perspective as a business.
No, it's amazing. Okay, I want to talk about, because I'm very excited. We published something recently on the Waste Lab. This is such a fantastic story.
Yeah, so the Waste Lab was a great story. Again, it started by one of our creative associates internally who raised their hand and said, why don't we do something with this waste? Obviously, we want to minimize waste, but we're going to create industrial waste. So let's create beautiful things, beautiful products for sale out of the waste. So thus, the Waste Lab was born. And we took, foundry waste, ceramic waste. We brought it together and made beautiful tiles that we're marketing under the Ann Sachs brand now, which has just been incredible to see, the designs and the style that we could create with waste. We're actually creating three-dimensional objects now out of waste and extending into other materials. And it's just the beginning of this creative exploration is, what can't we do trying to reuse positively industrial waste streams while we also work to minimize and eliminate them.
Yeah, well, first of all, the tile is glorious. It's gorgeous. The color is so dense and gorgeous, but also the narrative behind it, obviously it's a good story, but designers really attach themselves to meaning these days. So it's a positive all around. Okay,
yeah.
Another program, Design for the Environment.
Yeah, so when we think about, net positive or positive by design, we think about, well, how do you do that? You have to bring DFE or design for environment thinking into your product development process. And that goes down to environmental product declarations, understanding all of the ingredients and elements that go into your product, It goes down to the level of understanding all of the process inputs and the energy inputs in your process. So, and then truly the lifetime value and use and impact of your product. So DFE brings that all together, including the end of life consideration. And we look at all of that together as we assess every new product for design for the environment, to understand if it really is going to have a positive impact going forward on the environment.
I mean, you were talking about how you don't always honk your own horn. So I remember a conversation that I had earlier, which was that the DNA of Kohler was really about water. And then through marketing and ad campaigns, it became the bold look of Kohler. And now we're coming back to how important water is, right? Which is really, it's inherent. You are water. Kohler is water. So let's talk about some of the safe water projects.
Yeah, so we believe passionately about water, and safe water for all is a concept that we're driving in our business, and our work with water has so many different dimensions. First and foremost, we want to make amazing products that can conserve water but deliver excellent consumer experiences and performance. And that's really where technology comes into play when you look at water closets and bringing down the water consumption dramatically, but delivering more and better performance, or with shower heads that don't compromise satisfaction in a great shower, but can use dramatically less water. So that first and foremost, we want to make sure we're driving water conservation in our core business in all of the products and technology that we're delivering. And every one of them is looking at that as a major consideration and criteria in their development. But beyond that, we have to, again, use our organization as a force for change and positive. So we're doing Safe Water for All projects in different markets around the world. In India, and our Jagadia facility, working with the community to refurbish schools and put in proper sanitation, as well as water conserving products in those environments, as well as driving education and awareness around the world. So we've done Run for Clarity. So we've done some things around the world in terms of runs around this issue of water, hearkening to the fact that women in different markets around the world have to carry water long distances. So we emulate that, and we named the run after a simple water filtration device called Clarity that we developed for different markets around the world that didn't have access to safe drinking water. So there's a lot of dimensions to the work around water. Many of them are born out of an area we call innovation for good. How do we use the best capabilities and technology we have as a company to make a positive impact on the most significant issues facing our society?
Yeah. Amazing, amazing. Now, I love that you always say leading by design, and sort of part and parcel of that is the arts. And I'm not sure that everyone knows how deeply committed to the arts Kohler is. I know there's an artists industry and residency program, which I want to talk about, and the John Michael Kohler Art Center. Talk to us about that.
Right. So, the arts and the importance of the arts have kind of been in our DNA from the beginning. In the 20s, my great uncle, Walter Kohler, noted a quote from John Ruskin, the famous English philosopher: "Life without labor is guilt. Labor without art is brutality." And that speaks to our culture, a care for art, a care for design, but a strong work ethic as an organization as well. We founded the Art Center. The John Michael Kohler Art Center was founded in 1967. It was named after the founder. And today, and it was run by my aunt, who still oversees it. And today it's got one of the world's foremost collections of art by self-taught artists anywhere in the world. It's amazing art center. We've recently just commissioned and built and completed an art storage facility for all of these collections in addition to the art center. So that is truly special in our community here. And then Arts and Industry has been a program that we started in the 70s. My father and my aunt started that program, bringing in artists into our factories to use our materials, create amazing art that they could take and exhibit and sell. And it got so many of these artists more notoriety and helped them really underpin and escalate their careers. Over those years, we've had over 600 artists in that program. So it's really been a neat program, and we're so proud of all of the art that it's created and the artists that it's helped. And then we also have artist editions. We took that idea and created a line within our product lines called artist editions, where we do different explorations with color, texture, decals, and now recently into new materials with our Nature's Chemistry product lines.
No, amazing. By the way, I have this great story. So I don't know if you know this, but one of the gals who used to work for us, Yasmin Spiro, she moved to Chicago, and she is an artist, so she works for the IIDA, and
Yeah.
she was in the art and residency program. She said it, first of all, it was life-changing for her.
Wow.
Really, she said that, there are other kind of residency programs where you're given space or you're given a stipend and then you're let loose. But she said she felt she learned so much. She felt the care of the people around her. She was telling me, like, there's this guy, Jeff, who's in charge of glazes.
Yeah.
He taught her so much about glazes. So there's real artists who work for Kohler. And then she was telling me this guy, Bob, would say, like, okay, Yasmin, there's time on the kiln. So, like, she could put her up, like, she said it was just the most wonderful experience.
And that's the coolest dimension, is our factory associates working hand in hand with the artists. And it's a neat experience for everybody who work in that type of environment.
Yeah, I love it. I love to hear that, right, straight from the designer's mouth. So congratulations on that. So let's talk about, I know how much you believe in design, but also in keeping up with trends and technology.
Yeah, so, we love, all things about design and product development. I said, what do we enjoy the most is the creative process. And we enjoy creating things that are beautiful, that might be considered, more aesthetic design, from high art to high technology and everything in between. And that's one of the most interesting things about our company, is the strength that we've created across so many different product areas, material areas, as well as the technical capability that's been built over the years, from how to work with ceramics of all type to now advanced electronics, that if you look in some of our highest end intelligent toilets or digital thermostatic valves for electronic shower products. I mean, these products are very, very sophisticated, but the combination of being able to bring this all together, Frank Lloyd Wright's got a great definition of design, form, and function in perfect harmony with nature. I think that really sums it all up. How do you bring all of this together to create a beautiful form with amazing functionality that can deliver an incredible consumer experience? And that's what's neat about our sandbox, is because we have access to this all: creative ideas, materials, capabilities, and then also technology. So really the sky's the limit, and we need your audience to continue to feed ideas and needs that they see, because it just helps fuel our creative juices to attack new product development.
You know what, the other thing that's kind of crazy these days, and I know you'll appreciate it, is that I don't think in my entire career I've ever heard the word hygiene the way I have right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's obviously what's, what everyone's worried about, but that's also like something as a leader that the design community actually never had to worry about. You did, that had to be hygienic first and foremost. We jumped way ahead of that, and we're worried about design and obviously function. But now with that word being so in everybody's mindset, it's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah, so sometimes you're just in the right place, and
Right.
you know, we happen to be in the right place. But it really has been incredible, the intensity of focus on that, and we have this idea that drives us, you know, Kohler clean, and we've seen this dramatic spike in hygiene products. So bidet seats, all of our hygiene seats are spiking globally, but here in the US, where that category has been a smaller category historically, intelligent toilets have been on an incredible run globally and have accelerated here in the United States in all types of projects. On the residential faucet side, kitchen faucets, bathroom faucets, touchless faucets, everybody understanding the value and utility of touchless faucets. And then obviously the commercial environments, everybody who's, you know, building and designing commercial environments wants them to be as hygienic, clean, touchless as possible. So for us as designers and product developers, this has been an incredible boom for technology, again, that's kind of been accelerated in terms of its trend and growth. So it really has been fascinating to watch, and we were in the right place to capitalize on it.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah, that was in your wheelhouse, has, you know, so that was in some weird way like a positive that you've always been really, really interested on the
Mhm.
technology side.
Yeah, no, it's been really interesting, and obviously that's going to inform our strategy going forward significantly because these trends aren't going to go away. This desire for hygiene and convenience, residentially as well as commercially, is here to stay and is only going to continue to grow. So looking at all forms of technology around that is critically important.
Exactly. Now, I know they're all your babies, but is there a new favorite
Oh my God.
product designed recently that you can like share? We want to know David's favorite.
Yeah, you know, Cindy, they're all children.
Yeah, I know.
But, you know, I think just I was thinking about this because I knew you were going to ask me this morning when I was taking a shower.
Yeah.
So I started, you know, looking around our bathroom. Our house is a French country design in the woods, and but the bathroom, which we recently remodeled because we want to continue to use more products,
Right.
is more contemporary in nature, and it's beautiful. It uses all of Ansak's tile and stone and surfaces and a wide variety because we think that's essential to kind of create the warmth and beauty and the natural feel in an environment. We have a full wall of Roburn mirrored cabinets that give you a lot of design flexibility. I have a TV in my mirrored cabinet. It's all wired for Bluetooth sound, but the storage is amazing. Actually, on two walls of these mirrored cabinets, front and back, is great. And then my wife and I are both super passionate about Callista, and so we have Callista faucets with stone inlay handles on our vanities,
Oh, that's nice.
which are Roburn vanities. So we have the highly functional aluminum Roburn vanities, which are amazing. And then, you know, we each have our own toilet rooms, which is important for any marriage, as you know. And there, of course, we have our latest intelligent toilet. So we each have a Kohler Veil intelligent toilet, and love those. You know, great functionality you know, and then we have a large dressing area that uses kind of Italian closet design, kind of a simple, clean leather aesthetic, and that's really, you know, that's a space we spend a lot of time together. Obviously, as you're getting ready at the beginning of the day and end of the day, and that's where we live.
I think we were talking about the intelligent toilet, how that's going to become more of a necessity as
Yeah,
opposed to something on the higher end.
yeah, no, and that's certainly something we think a lot about, and we have some very long range plans around that. But the technology opportunity is significant, we think, for health, wellness, hygiene, and you're going to be seeing more and more from us in that space going forward. And we've been a leader in that area. We've got a great technical team globally. We do our own manufacturing all the way through all the electronics, through all the vitreous china. And it's really amazing. And the cleanliness and the hygiene around that are truly, once you use them, and I say the same is true with hygiene seats, once you use a bidet seat or a hygiene seat, you don't want to go back. So I really encourage, everyone to try them, specify them, use them, get to know them, because they're amazing products, because it's all about the experience, and it's a very easy to use. You don't have to even touch a keypad. They're all very intuitive today and touchless today.
Now, just as we're starting to close, I mean, you're a global company, so you are used to using technology to stay together. But as the folks in Kohler, Wisconsin, are used to being together. So how are you guys adapting as a company?
It really has been incredible. Like all companies, we've had to go virtual. We're also, relative to relationships with our trade customers, we're also using the technology to have, as other company, virtual happy hours, touch bases and things. And we'll be launching Studio Kohler soon, later this year in September, which is a whole digital platform for our designers, architects, trade customers. It's kind of a world of Kohler with tools to make it easier to maintain that relationship and specify and do work together. And so we're excited about that launch in September.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about that later in the show.
Right.
So that's great. So, okay, first of all, you have to send my love to your dad, to Herb.
I will.
Yeah, and anything. I mean, we've talked about a lot of things and so much positivity. How do you see the future, David, and how do you see Kohler?
Well, I think you have to be positive about the future. There are going to be challenges, and we're in the midst of challenges right now. And we have to not ignore the challenges. We have to be honest and embrace them and help people. I believe strongly that those of us that have been blessed with more capability, more strength, resources, we have to help others that haven't been that fortunate. And I think I would say that's critically important as businesses and individuals. I also think the world continues to need our services. It needs great design, and everybody on this call today, the world needs inspiration. They need design, they need inspiration, they need improvement and impact. And that's what we do in our work. And most problems in the world can be solved through thoughtful, better design, persistence. And I would just encourage us all to keep focused on that, and we'll make a difference in our work and our craft over time.
Thank you, David. Okay, so designers out there, okay, I know you're going crazy over David. He's amazing. So thank you. No, seriously, David. I know that when we have the conference, everyone's like, "Oh my God, David Kohler!" Like, there's so much to share. So I really want to sincerely thank you for giving us so much this morning and kicking off this amazing day to get together. I wrote down what you said about Frank Lloyd Wright, which I think is perfect, that form and function in perfect harmony. He would love that you said that, and we agree with Kohler about that. So sending you lots of love and virtual hugs, and can't wait to see you in real life someday.
Thank you so much, Cindy. Big hugs. You're one of our biggest fans, and we appreciate it so much. Thanks for all that you do. We really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you. So, okay. Bye, everybody. Stay tuned for All Day with Kohler on the Kohler Takeover. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Helene Oberman, Managing Director of Interior Design Magazine, and I'd like to welcome you to Product Live. This is our series that delves into the products and trends grabbing the industry and in real time looking at the minds behind the design. Did you know that cleanliness, while also next to godliness, is not just about one's physical state, but also about their state of mind? Kohler understands that well-being starts with one's peace and serenity. And with that, they're committed to providing exceptional hygiene products that enhance the quality of one's life and their overall wellness experience. From self-sanitizing functionality to entirely touchless interactions, there's an entire world of comfort and cleanliness waiting to be discovered. With me today to discuss how to make one's life cleaner, safer, and just a little more peaceful is Shawn Booth, Sanitary Design Studio Manager. Welcome, Shawn. It's nice to have you on.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so before we begin, I do have to ask one question. So have your colleagues named you Mr. Clean, given your role leading the advanced development for clean hygiene technology at Kohler? Do people sing the jingle whenever you walk by?
Not yet. That's something that maybe I need to think about working on.
Okay, well, maybe after this program. But really, in all seriousness, I mean, you are really responsible for all the magic that you may not always see, but really keeps us just a little bit safer in our personal sanctuaries that are the kitchen and bathroom.
Yeah, so I'm a product designer. So my job is to make products that work great and provide great experiences. And in the bathroom and kitchen, clean and hygiene is a fundamental need upon which, you know, great experiences are based on. So as leader of the clean and hygiene advanced development, I work with a number of really talented people, experts in the field. And my job is just to make sure that we are doing the things that are most important to deliver on those. And it's always been important in the bathroom, but now obviously the urgency on clean and hygiene technologies is more significant than we've seen for obvious reasons.
So you have found through market research and that consumers are really seeking clean within their spaces, and that's ranging from the physical clean of avoiding germs, like to your point, which is more important than ever right now, but also to this sort of higher order need, which is like peace of mind, serenity, and really freedom from chaos, which I think we all need as well. And with that, you came up with this mantra of clean space, clean air, clean water, and really clean me. How do you define that, Kohler?
Well, it starts with perception. So does it look clean? Does it smell clean? It's all of the senses, really. They're all a way for us to get an idea of the space that we're in and evaluate it. And so when our senses tell us something's clean, then you've got the foundation for a good experience. And that's that's touch as well. Do I feel clean? Do things feel clean? Taste when it comes to water, water quality. And then, and so beyond the perceptions though, are the things that you can't sense. And so that's about germ-free. And so that's really the underlying need for clean. That's why we find clean to be something that feels good, and something that we seek is really about germs and germ-free environments and the like.
So you would say that really your mission is to create impactful products that reduce or kill germs while making our lives just a little bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's been the mission of plumbing products and kitchen and bath products since their inception, really, is again, that need to keep people healthy. And so we've really been working on that for decades and centuries before that. And it's how Kohler got started in the kitchen and bath business, with more hygienic ways to bathe, starting with the bath in particular. So it really has been the foundation and the focus for a very long time.
So it's certainly in the DNA of Kohler and the Kohler brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
One way to certainly eliminate the spread of germs, which we all need to think about right now, is through touchless technology. What role does touchless technology, and especially with products like Sensate faucet, play in the kitchen?
Well, again, it's, the transmission of germs from person to person, or in the kitchen, it's about foodborne germs as well. So the inspiration for the Sensate faucet really came from the research that we've done, in which we see countless people using the backs of their hand or their wrist or even their elbows to turn on and off the faucet if they've been, preparing raw meats in particular. So they're doing that so that they don't contaminate the faucet. And so that was really the inspiration. And, but the benefits are beyond that. And when you can not only reduce germs, but make everyday activities easier, then that's really impactful for people. And when you use a touchless faucet like Sensate, it really does make things easier, and it reduces the need to touch the faucet with wet hands, which is a major source of water spots and just the grime that you get on a faucet too. So you have to clean your faucet less often. So it's really about making life easier as well as keeping people healthier.
No, I thought it was interesting during a previous conversation that like you were saying, the impetus for the launch of touchless technology was that you were calling like the chicken hands, like I can't stop the spread of bacteria in raw meat. But now it's certainly more necessary than ever, with just like the germs associated with the pandemic. And it'll be interesting to see, how far touchless technology will obviously go. But, there's the residential side of things. But would you recommend that within commercial projects, especially schools, given this time period, should incorporate touchless technology to help get people back to working and really learning?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, as one of the pieces in the puzzle of a space and reducing germ transmission, touchless technology is a very important part. So if you are keeping people from touching surfaces and transferring germ from person to person, it's important for COVID, but it's not just COVID, right? It's all the germs that we've encountered and will encounter. And a thing like touchless faucets and touchless soap dispensers is an easy upgrade to make. And in fact, I just got a letter from my kids' school saying that they're changing all their faucets to touchless faucets in the bathrooms for that reason, and to help parents see what they're doing to help make it a safer space. So I think touchless is a critical part there, and we have new touchless products and new touchless technologies as well. So they're more reliable and they're a better user experience than maybe we've had in the world previously. So I think it's important right now, and overall it'll just help provide better experiences in public spaces as we move forward.
So I know for the public spaces, you have launched products like the Composed Collection with Kinesis Sensor. Do these differ in any way from the residential models?
Well, we're using similar technology in the residential and commercial space. Of course, with the Sensate faucet, we have voice control as well, which we're not doing in commercial. But they've both been updated with the latest technology. So basically, when you need the water to run to wash your hands, it does so reliably. And it's a much better experience. I think we've all had that experience where you're moving your hands around trying to get the water to turn on, and it might turn on when you take your hands away, and a little game of cat and mouse there. But now they work really, really well. And we've got a variety of designs, and the Composed faucet that you mentioned is a really nice modern design, so you can have it in a beautiful package in the faucets. And again, the soap dispensers are very important there too.
I mean, you've also really incorporated touchless technology with your intelligent toilets beyond just the faucet. So can you tell us about product introductions such as Air and Veil?
Sure. Yeah. Air and Veil are what we call intelligent toilets. So they are toilets that have a variety of features that are really centered around bidet function, personal cleansing function. And then they have a host of other features, comfort features such as heated seats. But as far as touchless goes, you know, hands-free operation. So the lid will open for you and you can close the lid and it will flush based on the need, either a long flush or a short flush. So it really does help with a more hygienic bathroom experience. And again, I can't stress enough that yes, it's more hygienic and that's important, but it's a pleasure to use. And when you just sort of take some of these steps away, it really, you know, makes those experiences a little bit more effortless, which is a really nice thing.
I mean, you've seen a shift, especially here in the American market, that people are a little bit more accepting now of sort of the bidet functions and the cleansing seats, correct?
Yeah, we have. In fact, we've seen, you know, there's been a trend in the United States of growing awareness, especially in recent years, and growing interest in this category, but never to the level that we see in other regions around the globe. So Asia, for example, bidet function in toilets has become an expectation. So, you know, in the United States, I think there's still a longer road to go to awareness and adoption of that kind of feature. But with the COVID pandemic and people's awareness around toileting and the run on toilet paper that we had, you know, people's the urgency around that feature and awareness has really shifted, and the market demand right now for bidet function in toilets and toilet seats has really skyrocketed. And you know, it's an unfortunate thing that created that awareness or that growth in awareness. But I think generally it's a good thing as people are going to be, you know, they're going to feel cleaner and healthier and happier as a result. So, so that part's a good outcome.
Well, I'm glad as Americans, we're just beginning to understand what we were sort of missing out on when we were having these like spa-like experiences when we were traveling abroad and having the sort of experience on cleansing seats. And you have other products too, like the C3230, correct? As well as, which is just the seat versus the entire intelligent toilet. Right.
So you can get these features in a seat itself. You know, and they can go on any toilet. So that's a real benefit. So you don't have to go through the effort of replacing a toilet, and you can add this feature to the toilet that you have. But similar features, heated seat, UV sanitization of the bidet function for that germ killing and providing people with a peace of mind. So yeah, I think, you know, regardless of your budget, or your willingness to do a project, we do have products that can help in this area.
Mm-hmm. So it's so much easier than getting and replacing just the whole toilet. But, you know, it's nice, it's hands-free and self-sanitizing, because, you know, for all of us, we all know that maybe cleaning the toilet is maybe the least enjoyable experience of cleaning our homes. But thankfully, Shawn, you have developed your continuous clean technology, which I know you're super passionate about. So can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, this is my favorite. So myself and a team of engineers and designers and marketers worked extensively to bring this to market, and I'm really quite proud of the results. And essentially, it's a toilet that keeps itself clean by introducing a little bit of carefully measured cleaner into the flush every time. And we call it continuous clean because it's always working. The water in your toilet bowl is always working to keep germs from propagating and to keep your bowl visibly cleaner. back to that perception thing. So I can see that it's cleaner, and it really works amazingly well. So I have it in my home. My mom has the toilet, and every time I talk to her, she tells me how wonderful it is and how it's improved her life dramatically, which I love to hear. It cleans itself is what she likes to remind me. So I've made my mom very proud, as well as improving her life just a little bit. But this is a feature I'll always have. I'll always choose for a toilet because it's really quite profoundly different in how well a toilet works, essentially keeping itself clean.
So Shawn, I know there's a lot of conversations really about the safety around the cleaning products and chemicals that we use in our space. So what are the benefits of having continuous clean technology in your toilet?
So another benefit of continuous clean is from a personal health and environmental point of view. We're really reducing the amount of harsh chemicals that are required to clean your toilet. So not only do I have to buy less in terms of cleaning product, but I'm not exposing myself to those concentrations that you see in typical toilet bowl cleaners because the toilet's staying cleaner. And I'm also not throwing away the trash that's associated with the bottles that contain the cleaners. So we really see this as a win on a variety of fronts.
And I know it's great. So for all of you out there, like, how do I get this continuous clean technology? It's certainly in products like the Korbel toilet. So like, we should all have a toilet that kills germs and really stays cleaner longer, so we don't have to use traditional methods of cleaning it out. So obviously, I know continuous clean technology is something that we should all think about investing in. I know you have some other great recommendations. It's just, given this time period, it's really especially for the commercial market, about how offices, hotels, and restaurants can open or possibly reopen in a much safer fashion.
Yeah, so we're looking closely at public bathrooms, as are a lot of people and organizations. They're being reconsidered in real time as we speak. Because of the necessities of the pandemic that we're in, and this is an acceleration of a trend that we've been seeing anyway, which is a good thing in terms of people wanting to provide and businesses wanting to provide better public bathroom experiences, and they've seen it as a way to provide more than their competition does to their employees and their customers. So some of the things that we've been seeing in those trends are, first of all, interior designers and architects are having more ownership in the bathroom design and the products that get spec'd. So that's a very good thing, because their expectation for the experiences that they provide are much higher. And then those experiences being privacy, and where privacy overlaps with safety from germs is more separation from person to person. So you're seeing things like fuller stalls instead of the stalls where you can see everybody's feet, and things like that. So that's a better experience. And then on top of that, you have, as we mentioned, the touchless experience, more separation between people, more privacy. And then you've got things that you can do to the space, like ventilation. I think ventilation is one of the most important things that public spaces can do, particularly in bathrooms. Get those germs out of the air, and out of the air, and out of reducing the risk of them landing on surfaces or landing on people or being breathed in by people. So in terms of the quick fixes, touchless technology, things like the way the stalls are designed that are installed, and ventilation of the space. But again, this is all part of a trend that we've been seeing around better public bathroom experiences. And I think that's the exciting part. And I'm really quite excited to see where we go with the future of public bathrooms, because it is going to get better.
Mhm. Well, I definitely have learned today that, we don't need to sacrifice our health and our safety in the kitchen or the bathroom, as Kohler really has a huge array of designs for both residential and commercial markets to address these needs. I mean, these spaces really should remain as sanctuaries from the stress of life and the world of germs. And with that, Shawn, I really would like to thank you for your time and insight on how we can really make our lives just a little bit safer and actually a little bit easier. And really, for our audience out there, please make sure to check out the Kohler website to learn more about these product programs. And please stay tuned for more of the Kohler Design Takeover. So welcome back to another Product Live and the Kohler Takeover. I'm Helene Oberman, Managing Director of Interior Design Magazine, a design-forward organization with a commitment to creating meaningful experiences. Kohler understands that their products are foundational to daily life. The company recognizes the importance of crafting a space, one that we inhabit day in and day out, with a sense of joy in order to capture the true spirit of home. With a history of more than 135 years, the Kohler brand has always made it its mission to challenge our everyday assumptions and to infuse our most important sanctuaries, the kitchen and the bathroom, with both beauty and meaning. With me here today to discuss how to create that beauty and meaning with the use of Kohler's CMF, that's color, material, and finish, and customization capabilities, is Erin Lilly, Design Studio Manager. Welcome, Erin. Nice to have you on today.
Thank you for having me, Helene. What a wonderful introduction.
Oh, well, thank you. So jumping right into your design process, we should really obviously start from the beginning and how you really forecast the trends. I mean, as a legacy brand, how do you navigate the history of the company and really the world in general in order to think ahead to what future of design may be?
It wasn't until I started Kohler that I was really impressed by the rigor that they put into understanding their consumer. And one of those is forecasting, and I have the pleasure of being on that forecasting team. So we work globally, cross-functionally. So we've got consumer behaviors, marketing, financial insights, and we employ a STEEP model, and that's science, technology, economy, environment, political, and now Kantar Futures has added well-being. So we take those socioeconomic indicators and we also look at historical trends, and we bring them together to understand how people are going to behave differently, which leads to how they're going to live differently. How do they want to craft their homes differently? And it's really exciting to kind of take everything that's going on in the world and say, well, what's next? What are they going to be doing 10 years from now? How do we want to live 20 years from now? So it's a really interesting process, and I'm really proud to be a part of it.
So wellness has really been a part of the Kohler DNA for 135 plus years, even maybe if it wasn't called wellness at the time. And now, of course, we look towards well-being probably more than ever during this time period. What have you learned from the past in terms of other global pandemics? I know there was the Spanish influenza, which we're all looking towards given the current time. And how has that really shaped the magnitude of how home interiors can be evolving?
So there's a really unique thing about home and interior design and architecture. We, in the moment, view it as kind of a very mature, evolving product category or segmentation. It takes pandemics or stuff at a global magnitude to actually see a shift in behavior or changes in those spaces. So something like these ubiquitous spaces in our house, like a powder room or built-in closets or even subway tile, are actually artifacts from the last pandemic we had. Subway tile came into popularity in the early 1900s because it was a white sealed surface. So it showed dirt very easily, and it communicated cleanliness, and which then led people to believe that hygiene, and it was sanitary, which it is. But in this next pandemic, what we need to realize is our surfaces, plumbing products, faucetry, are held to such a high standard of hygiene and sanitation that we don't have to default to white vitrified surfaces to communicate health and hygiene, especially in the plumbing industry. Everything that Kohler puts out is held to a very high standard of performance. So you don't have to sacrifice your personality or your vision for this, for perceived safety and sanitation. That's kind of my mission right now. Don't go back to white just because you think it might be cleaner, because everything we offer is just as clean. So it's really interesting to learn that, you know, features that you take for granted in your house were actually informed by previous pandemics or previous health concerns.
Well, I'm a big fan of subway tile because I can say that it's actually in my own bathroom right now. And the fact that it sort of stood the test of time, and like it went, you know, it's lasted 100 years and is still incredibly modern as well, but came out of something that's, you know, a health crisis. But it'll be interesting, you know, obviously now, the here and now, and maybe it's too early to say, but how do you think the current pandemic may shape sort of new behaviors that will become new trends in the kitchen and bathroom?
I think we're already seeing it in behaviors and how people are adopting. We're making big jumps. So items like touchless, having touchless features incorporated into your house. So that was really commonplace in commercial venues, but now we're seeing that being adopted inside. Obviously, we have touchless features offered for our kitchen and our bathrooms, but we're going to see that integrate more into the bathroom space. And then also in concerns of hygiene, it's those enhanced hygiene features. So the effortless aspect of it. How do I keep the product clean? How do I keep that space clean with minimal effort, especially when we've lost those external support systems that we had in place prior to this?
And what are some of the insights you're gathering from the current market about the look and feel of future kitchens and baths?
I think this will be interesting. So especially in North America, we've seen the kitchen kind of open up to the living space because it's the kind of foundation of the living. So it's definitely a focal point. And we've been watching this for a while, that we would see the bathroom kind of evolve into a more multi-dimensional space, because that bathroom is servicing not just health and hygiene, but it's also your well-being hub. So it's the space where you might only get 5 minutes of peace and quiet. So it's definitely that sanctuary center. So we can actually, we're anticipating it become a lot more than just a place of sanitation. It could be the space where you do your meditations in the morning, or you pamper yourself in the evening. So we actually see that bathroom space perhaps opening up into the master bedroom when we think about master baths, or being a little bit more robust when it's a shared communal bath.
So I think when you think of sanctuary, you can certainly think of like the understated and the restrained and like soothing colors and calming materials. And of course, when you think of the bathroom, one thing you think of is cast iron, because you think of those great, beautiful bathtubs that can be absolutely a sanctuary, right? In the middle of the day, or first thing in the day, or at the end of the day.
Exactly. I love cast iron because it is a material that just is timeless. It can stand the test of time, and it looks brand new decades after it was installed. So you think about, we service 2 anchors of the house that you really want to invest your time and money, and then you want it to last for decades, or at least be able to refresh around it. And I think cast iron is just one of those material sets that's going to thrive and survive the test of time.
And I think for me personally, I think there's something about the weightiness of cast iron that gives you a sense of security in a way as well, which I think in these specific spaces, especially maybe in the bathroom, you want and need during this time period. But I know you touched on earlier about wellness, but I think you recognize very much, especially with what you do, like how your designs, it goes far beyond just hygiene and sanitation, which of course are incredibly important, but you know, you still want to create something. There should still be a little oomph to the products that you're designing.
Yes, so obviously health and hygiene is foundational to our work. But then on top of that, we're thinking about function and flow. So enabling you to have a really gracious experience in that space, whether it's the kitchen or bath. And then you shouldn't sacrifice personalization or personality and look and feel, because that's going to set the tone for your day. If you find a space to be beautiful, then you want to be in that space more. You're going to be happier in that space or calmer in that space. So we feel very strongly that having a healthy CMF portfolio is critical to servicing these spaces just as much as our functionality of our product.
And so I know you've mentioned previously about products, like the purpose of them, you know, there's the functionality, but they should also just elevate your mood. And one way that they could do that is through the use of color. And I know that Kohler was in fact one of the first companies to introduce color into sanitary ware.
Yeah, it's definitely in our DNA. It's one of those key, it's the foundation of the bold look of Kohler, is our color. I love the colors that we introduced in the early 20s and going into the 50s, because that really, from a North American perspective, encapsulated the 1950s and that feel of new beginnings. And I think color in that space is critical because it's going to just uplift you. It's always going to remind you of something. It's going to bring joy, but it's also a critical component to completing the space. So for our A&D partners, we really want to give you all the tools that allow you to complete that vision without having to sacrifice having, you know, just choosing from white and chrome. We want to give you the tools that's going to make that space feel fully complete and realized.
So obviously you don't need to sacrifice personality in your products for safety and health. You can have it all. But, you know, for those watching right now in the A&D community, how can you work with them, especially with a program like the blend in or blend out programs, to fully realize their vision for the kitchen or bathroom?
I think one, it's through our diverse but curated portfolio of color, material, and finish. So we've got, you know, a multitude of faucet finishes to work with your vision. Same thing with our neutral portfolio across our suited bathroom products and in our kitchen. And then we also have some showstoppers. So we have decorative products, and that's one of my babies, is the artist editions category. So that's a little bit more pointed. And also we have our bolder colors. So in cast iron, we created these beautiful shadows collection, which is like a really deep black plum or an indigo, or this really soft gray lavender, which is actually a nod to one of the first colors we produced as a company.
And I think you're actually just launching a brand new finish to the market maybe today, correct?
Yes. It's modern brushed brass, and it's this really soft kind of, it's not your grandma's brass from the 80s. It's a very soft, earthy, warm finish. So I think it definitely adds a layer of warmth, but luxury to a space. It's a nice just moment. It's refreshing from all the cool chromes and nickels that we've had, you know, in the 90s to 2000s. So I am really excited to start working with this finish and incorporating it.
So obviously customization doesn't just stop with color. I know that you kind of, Kohler pushes the boundaries with spaces, and it's not just aesthetics, it's also the experiential, and how do you incorporate that into your kitchen or bathroom. So can you walk us through DTV?
Sure. So we are we are very much invested in elevating your daily experience. And DTV is one of those products that definitely delivers on that. So this is a product that allows you to craft really robust showering experiences. So you can get the right temperature, have the right water experience or sprays. You can have multiple different profiles. So then your water experience is definitely different than your significant other or your kids. You can have it programmed to start when you wake up. So it becomes a really effortless and seamless experience. You can have different profiles for different times of the day. So you can have one that wakes you up in the morning, but you can also have one that kind of calms you down. And it really, it's not just water, but it's, you know, it's sound and light. We're looking to deliver everyday luxuries, and being able to bring something like DTV to market is one of those luxuries that we can bring home, where you have steam, sound, water experiences right in your house, something that you're taking the spa and bringing it home. And that's what we're really excited about.
And I know with the A&D community, for them, it's all about customization, right? Like designers want to put their own stamp on the spaces that they're designing for their clients. And you have provided them the Create with Kohler program. So how do you work with designers to help bring their creative vision to life?
I think Create with Kohler is that next evolution of our Artist Editions brand. So Artist Editions was born from our arts and industry program, where we brought those artisans in and had them decorate labs and toilets to bring an additional layer of beauty to the space. And we want to leverage our mastery of decal and color development to provide that opportunity for A&Ds to bring a little bit something extra to a project and spec to really complete that vision. So like I said before, I love working with the A&D community, and this is just a cherry on the sundae, being able to take these projects on and see them to fruition.
It sounds like a designer can come to you with a simple hand sketch, and then you can really work with them to make sure that that can actually become a real product to use in their projects.
Yes, that's exactly what we want to do. We take our expertise of translating a 2D visual and then how that drapes across a three-dimensional product. We're one of the very few companies right now that have that capability to take decals and put them on volumetric pieces. So it's a really unique opportunity that we wanted to bring forward to our A&D partners.
Well, it was great. And actually, for audience, if you stay tuned next, you'll get to learn a little bit more about that collaboration with Sara Duffy of Stonehill Taylor. And, you know, Erin, today I really learned that we really should all challenge the everyday and create a sanctuary of our very own in our kitchen and bathroom. I mean, they should be spaces that uplift and add true meaning to our lives. And of course, we can customize that with color and a lot of other opportunities. And with that, Erin, I just want to say thank you so much for your time and for your insight. And for our audience out there, please make sure to check out the Kohler website to learn more about these product programs, and stay tuned for more Kohler Takeover.
Hey everybody, hey design friends, this is Cindy Allen, Editor-in-Chief of Interior Design. All right, today is Kohler Design Takeover all day, and we couldn't be more excited. All right, this is gonna be a fun one, because we're gonna talk about your biggest passion, which is design, right? And for Kohler too. In fact, they have a new program called Create with Kohler that we're going to dig into and then actually see the result installed at a fabulous new art hotel designed by our good friends at Stonehill Taylor. So I'd love to introduce my guests. Welcome Donna Morales, Senior Industrial Designer at Kohler, and Sara Duffy, Principal of Stonehill Taylor. Hi girls, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
It's so nice to spend this time with you. I'm really excited for the audience because they are gonna love this. Now, here's the thing. What I love about the story so much is that it started from this amazing collaboration that actually resulted in this program, Create with Kohler, right? But Donna, tell us, because this is something everyone may not know. The program is new, but this is based on the long history of Kohler's commitment to the arts. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so the Kohler family have always been a big supporter of the visual arts. So they believe that visual arts improve your life. It gives beauty and meaning to our lives. So through this Create with Kohler program, we're basically giving architects and designers the opportunity to express their creativity. They can dream, they can imagine what their project should look like. And then we take our knowledge and our technology and make that a reality, make it happen.
Yeah, you know, I don't know of a designer that, because I've been there quite a few times now, who, you know, you go into the factory, I don't know of a designer that doesn't want to create after seeing the possibilities. Right, Sara? Have you been there?
Yeah, I haven't actually been there, but that's what everybody says, that it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's unbelievable. Yeah, so there's a residency program, right, Donna? I have a good friend who actually just finished the program. She couldn't speak more highly about it. She loved it.
Yeah, that's great, and it's that influences a lot of what we do. So we bring artists here from all over the world. It's a very well-known program, and then artists are working on the floor, on the production floor. So they're either in the pottery or at the foundry, and they're creating with the tools that we create our production. So they are exposed to so many different techniques and materials and inspiration, right? That makes their work great. And then at the same time, we get inspired by them. So it's a perfect collaboration that happens during that residency program.
Yeah, it's amazing. My friend was just finished and she was over the moon because what you said, that there are really artisans right there in the factory who work for Kohler, who can really help you make a reality out of your vision. And I know that's what the Create with Kohler program is about too. So I want to talk about it a little bit. Okay, I'm a designer. I have hopefully a big project, right? And I want to know, how does this work? So Donna, take us through it. First of all, how much quantity of something do we have to do in order to be part of the Create with Kohler program?
So we're considering projects that have a minimum of 20 pieces.
I mean, that's not bad actually, right?
No, that's very reasonable.
And for a designer, that's amazing. I mean, that's easy.
Right, exactly. Okay, so I'm like, oh my God, all right, I have 20. Now what about timing in terms of this is all custom? So how much time do we need?
So these can be very organic. You can come to us and say, I have this idea, I have this creative vision about a sink or a lavatory that I want to make. Can you help me to make it bring to life? Or you can bring us the exact kind of artwork that you want. You have a specific artwork that you want to use for these products, and then you give it to us, and then we basically take that artwork and translate it and bring you a prototype, a finished prototype that shows your vision. And then once you approve that, we can move right into production. So it's a very kind of organic and fluid process. And the SANDOW project, for example, it was very fast. We met in, I think, July or June, and then by September, October, we already have a prototype, a working prototype that they were able to install in the room. So
yeah, okay, we'll get to the hotel, but it's true. Sara, tell us, is that Donna was saying it's very organic? Is that what actually happened with you all?
Yeah, so I mean, what was so inspiring was we went on that tour of the factory and realized that there were all these capabilities and got so excited. So the beauty of working with them is that, and also the timeline that Dana just talked about, is that fits really well into a model room scheduling. So that gives us enough time to set it up so that there's a prototype available for the model room and then to go into production once it's approved. So that's great.
Yeah, so listen out there. So was the timing like actually works out really, really well. And then you, I know you're industrial designer, Donna, you can, so as a design firm, we can either work with you directly or you can bring in, as a designer, I could also bring in an artist, right?
Right, yes. There's two lavatory, like two sinks. One was, we got the artwork and we translated into the piece. It was from a designer, a local designer in Milwaukee, Daniel Chung, and he created this beautiful flower illustration and he sent us the file and we worked with him in some modifications because we always wanted to fit perfectly. And then the other one, it was Linda's Marcus creative vision. So she imagined this ribbon flowing very organically on the sink, and she talked to us and kind of showed us her idea. And then we started working on it. We sent her pictures. We were communicating back and forth. It was like the perfect synergy there. And then it was perfect. It worked out very well and they were very happy with the results. So we can do both ways.
Okay, so Donna, I'm a designer or I may even be a developer. So how do I start the process?
So anyone could start this process just by contacting your Kohler rep or the Kohler contact that you may have, and that person will be able to start you with the process of create with Kohler.
All right, so let's talk about the quick steps to how this works. So you got to find a project, right?
Right, exactly. You have the project, and then you know that we can make it happen. We can be kind of the hands that like builds your dream.
Right, and then it sort of moves into like the creative process, exploration and inspiration.
We will talk about this opportunity, then we will explore the different possibilities, the different like base shapes that we can use that will fit what you need. And you will see our portfolio. We have an extensive portfolio of decorative products. So then you can see the color palettes, the different effects that we can achieve through this process. So then we kind of like combine your vision, our knowledge, and then we come out with amazing one-of-a-kind pieces that are created just for your project. They're unique. They're as unique as you are. So this is a really amazing opportunity for architects and designers.
Are you kidding? It's like they're kids and candies in a candy store, right?
Yes,
is what
right.
Every designer dreams of. So then I understand you collaborate together, and then you end up developing a 3D transfer, but then they actually see a prototype, right?
Yes. So the process that we use is called a ceramic transfer or a decal. So this is a flat print out that when it gets applied to the piece, it like shapes to the curves of the piece. So there's a lot of work that we need to do there, like kind of like the behind the scenes, right. That if you're the architect or the designer, you don't have to worry about it. We'll take care of that. So what you will see is the beautiful piece already fired and ready to be installed. We assure that all the function testing has already been done. So you know that you're getting a high quality piece for your project.
No, that's amazing that you don't have to worry about all of that. Okay, so what actually can you do? What are the capabilities?
So at this moment, we have capabilities for the decorative part of the sink. So we can apply decals that have a huge variety of colors and effects. And we can also work with color.
Sara, were you all excited when you started to get into this whole,
yeah.
Actually, you started the program without knowing it, right? Without anyone knowing it, right? So,
right.
But I can't imagine. Tell us a little about it.
Well, so, you know, as you know, the concept for the hotel is basically, it's an art center, right? So the idea that we could have everything in the room be touched by art, we took to the 10th degree. And then when we started thinking about the sink and the abilities that Kohler had, it was just an amazing opportunity. And, you know, we're thrilled with the result. And something that you guys should I really wanted to make sure that you guys understand is that there's art inside the sink, but it even overflows to the other side, which is really special. So it's not just sort of a decal in a sink. It's the whole entire form has been thought about, and I think that's what's so special.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay, so let's get to the hotel. We can't wait. So it's in downtown Milwaukee, and it's a family who are very much in kinship with the Kohler family because they're big advocates for the arts, right?
Correct. Yes. So the Marcus family is a very important family to Milwaukee in that they own numerous hotels, but that they're also a huge proponent of the arts and are just a sort of a major part of Milwaukee as are the Kohler family. And so those two families sort of came together to create this amazing property, which is, you know, really unusual.
Yeah, because it had been an old hotel. What was it?
It was an intercontinental owned by the Marcus family, and now they decided that they wanted to deflag it, and they fully own it, operate it, run it, which is also very unusual. So those are the special projects that we're always looking for and feel so lucky and excited about. So that's why we really took it to the next level in terms of trying to create relationships with people like Kohler.
Right. I mean, I was excited when I saw the images. So take us through. Well, first of all, it's called the Syncate, right?
Right. But did you know that the reason it's called the Syncate is because it's Saint Catherine of Alexandria, who was the patron of the arts. That's why it's called the Syncate, which is a really cool thing. Yeah.
That's amazing. That should flag somewhere when people get their room pass or something. Anyway, that's the marketing side of me. All right, so I know it's a big lobby and there are a lot of different areas where you're celebrating art. So take us through the lobby.
Okay, so what's so amazing is that you walk in and you're immediately sort of at this crossroads of numerous art associations, if you will. So there's the Marcus Gallery, there's the Museum of Wisconsin there, and then there's also two other places where art is shown. So it's this amazing experience where not only could you go to galleries, there's also a space where you can have an immersive art experience. There's a theater space. All these things are happening in one place, which is highly unusual. Plus the fact that the Marcus family is so dedicated to the arts, that means that you walk in and somebody's playing a trumpet and just walking through the lobby, or someone's doing a little art expose, to the side. So this is this constant interaction and expression of art, which is so highly unusual. So it's a venue for exploration and connection and expression, which I think, most hotels can't say that.
No, they can't say that at all. And there's exhibition space and a black box theater. Like, to really be exposed to art in that way is really special.
It's so special. And, if you're a person that's traveling for business and that you get to have that layer of your experience, I think that's amazing. And it's also just encouraging people to be creative, to be thoughtful, to be aware of your surroundings, to not just sort of walk into the hotel and go up to your room and, get on your laptop. It's to force people kind of out of their norm is what's so successful about it.
Right. And I understand it's a lot of local art, but also commissioned art.
Yes, that's a good point. And then every single space has been thought about in terms of having an unusual art moment. So rather than just a staircase, there's this just amazing sort of bulbous foam sculpture as you walk up the staircase on a diagonal, which, one doesn't normally think of that. So the artist was encouraged to come in and say, where would you like to have your piece? And how can we do this? So it was this real collaboration, which was why it was so successful. I mean, these are the projects that are so successful because the client is so collaborative with us and with the artists. So it's a win-win.
I know you were showing me also, which I love, the ramp, because a ramp is sometimes just a ramp, but this is like an installation.
Yeah, so there's this beautiful, there's a ramp and then there's this big wall behind it. We're always like, oh, I guess we'll put some wall covering on it,
right.
Or a mirror, great. But we just said, why don't you just take this whole wall? And so she approached it as, she designed the wall covering itself and then 3 pieces of art that fit within the parameters of that wall covering. So it's just beautiful.
And Sara, I understand there's Kohler and Saks all throughout the hotel. So tell us a few of the other areas where you specified them.
Okay, so in Proof Pizza, which is this wonderful pizza restaurant within the hotel, we've used Ann Sachs's Kelly Wursler's tile Maven on the front of the pizza bar, which is very prominently seen. We also loved using the Waste Lab product from Kohler, which we use on the front of the bar, the actual bar of the main restaurant.
Waste Lab, is that?
Yes.
I want everyone to know about Waste Lab. It's fairly new. But I love the idea of the waste, and that sometimes it may be a piece of a toilet that becomes an incredible tile.
Yeah, so we're very interested as a firm in sustainability and trying to, sort of pull up materials rather than going to the landfill. So when we found out about the Waste Lab, we were really interested. And basically they make tiles out of sort of the end products of their other products, but they're absolutely beautiful. There's this beautiful, rich, deep burgundy tile that we used on the front of the bar. And then each one has this hand engraving that it speaks to the percentage of waste that was used, which is also amazing. So we felt like we had no choice but to use that as well.
Yeah, Donna, the glaze, all the colors of the glaze that I saw, they're so like deep, dense, in that it makes you like want to kind of swim in it, right? How do you do that?
So those are translucent glazes, and they are, you can see that they're not exactly the same. You get these like different, if they're blue, you get these different kind of like tons of blue and tons of green. And in this case, the glaze was adjusted to achieve what the designers and the architects wanted for this specific project. So it can be manipulated, and it's not going to be an absolutely exact the same, which I think is so beautiful because it speaks to the character of the process and the character of the project at the same time.
Yeah, you
Agreed.
see it and you feel it. And don't you, Sara, these days, like you said, you're very interested in sustainability, but like knowing the story behind a product is so much more important than it used to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get up to the rooms, which are all very special. And so this is where there were the two different design sinks for the different rooms throughout.
Absolutely. We used many of the Kohler products in the bathroom in each guest room. So with the sink, obviously, which we've been talking about, we use the Purist line for the faucets. And then there's also the tile in the shower that we use as well, all of which are beautiful and we were thrilled to use.
There are over 200 rooms, right?
There's 219 rooms, and we basically split the two different designs evenly throughout the hotel, with the hopes that if you stay there twice, you'll get one sink, and then hopefully you'll get a different sink. We can't.
Oh, I love that
idea.
So take us through like the concepts of the rooms.
We kind of split the art idea for downstairs was very much sort of international and local, just thinking about sort of how we thought about designing the space, but the rooms themselves, we wanted to feel very local. So whenever we do a project, we immerse ourselves in the area. So we go to anything and everything we can. We obviously go to all the other hotels, but we toured art schools. We went to every museum. We will go to anything and everything we can get our hands on.
Right.
And I'm particularly struck by this wonderful art school that we toured, and all the students had this big butcher block desk that they worked at. And so we really took that as inspiration. So when we went back to the room, we thought of it as sort of a black and white canvas, if you will, and letting the art sort of pop off of that. And so the desk is that butcher block,
Right.
solid thing, and then it's got this really cool scroll of paper that you can draw on, and we've supplied colored pencils. So everything is to concept, including the carpet feels like an artist is just sort of doing something and doesn't like it and throws it on the paper. So the carpet feels like pieces of paper thrown on the floor. And then everything is touched by art. So even the bed throw was designed and manufactured by a local Milwaukee artist. There's beautiful lampshades that were actually printed at a printing house in Milwaukee.
I love those. They're so beautiful.
Yeah, those are really cool.
Yeah.
And so, we're always trying to we always want it to feel very much on concept, but also not like it's sort of, it's not hitting you over the head, right? It's still supposed to be a beautiful, inviting space. And then there's just these careful hits of colors. There's a beautiful hit of orange in the curtain, and that's
the curtains, yeah.
yeah. And then of course all the beautiful art on the walls too.
Yeah, you know, I think we need to say this again, like a thank you to the Marcus family, because, you know, Sara, as you say, you know, you are as good as your client. You try to move them somewhere, right? Take them somewhere else. But to have a client that is so open and so courageous and goes on this journey with you, seriously, this is a dream job, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a dream job. And then of course we took that into the bathroom as well, where we started this amazing process with Kohler for the sinks themselves, but then also the showers too. And then in the shower we've also went to a local artist who made this beautiful dancer out of tile, and the grout work is actually the outline of her, but that lives within all the Kohler stuff. And so the whole thing just kind of came together. And then even the eraser, the soap feels like an eraser. And, you know, we just really want everything to feel touched by us and our concept. One of the things as designers that we really love and helps us a lot is when we're using multiple products from one company in a bathroom. That's incredibly helpful, right? Because our specification process gets streamlined. We're talking to one company and we're able to troubleshoot much more easily since we're dealing with one group.
And also that they're all so different. So it feels like you shopped all over, but you were really in one.
Right. Very good point. Right. It's not as though everything's samesies. It's all.
Right. All right. So let's talk about the two sinks now that everybody's like seeing it. What did you decide first? The ribbon was a great inspiration, an Italian poster. Yes. Right?
Yeah.
It was a design by Franco Grignani, who has all these like linear kind of ribbons that move, are very kind of so fluid, and just thinking about the way he created. Now we use technology and use computers, but when he was doing this, he was doing everything by hand and so precise and crisp. So yes, the original inspiration is from one of his posters.
Yeah, and it's also beautiful to see you playing with the ribbon idea right on the sink. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, those pictures are amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's part of the process. So every project that we create is different. And this one, because it was very linear and the ribbon itself, it was kind of rigid, you know, when you see kind of the printout, but how to make it fluid. So we thought like the way to do it is just actually creating the ribbon and moving it around, so we understand the shadows, and when we apply the decal and create the decal, it's realistic, so you almost want to kind of like touch the ribbon, right? So the best way to understand that was just the simplest way, I think, creating the ribbon and moving it around and taping it to the sink and taking all these like top view images to share with our client in this case and see what worked best.
Yeah, by the way, can I just say that the sink itself is gorgeous?
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful sink. It's like a sculpture. And I do love how you paired with a lot of black and use that faucet, the Purist line. I love that whole line. And I know designers are really enjoying specifying from that. Was one more complicated for one reason or another, Donna?
The synergy that was created during this project, it was really, really amazing and inspiring. So it was not more complicated, but when I was working on the ribbon, I had the file. So I kind of had all the control and I can move and arrange the things the way I wanted. The other one, we needed to keep through to the artist who created the artwork, but at the same time, we needed to make adjustments and changes to make it flow nicely on the veil sink that you were talking about. So I think it's just different ways of working, but they both were great, and I think the result can speak about it.
I think one of the things that's so great is that it started with design and art, and then we chose artists, but then even the process itself that you guys are doing at Kohler, that in itself is an artistic process.
Absolutely, yes. And yes, because each piece is created by hand, one at a time. So we do print the decals and they're all the same. But when you apply them, there's a lot of like organic things that happen. You know, it's the human hand applying this decoration on a sink. So they're not going to be absolutely identical, and doesn't matter because it's just a beautiful piece of art, each and every of them.
I mean, it's actually your hand on each and every one, which I really love. And it was a good project too, because you were working with two different like ways of thinking, right? Because when you're working with an artist, you have to be super careful to respect what they're doing, and it's a different, I would imagine, a different kind of process. But the result on both are really, really special. Sara, what does everybody say about the hotel?
Oh, everybody loves it, of course.
No, but I mean, it is a different kind of experience. I mean, you're really, you're sharing, when you're sharing art, you're sharing, emotion and love and passion, and also educating so many people.
Yeah, and also interaction, right? I mean,
right.
Often at a museum, everything's behind glass. You're not supposed to touch anything, and not that everyone's walking around saying, "Please touch all the art," but there's an ability to interact with it and touch things that you don't normally get in a experience like that. For instance, the horse when you first walk in, which is such a beautiful piece by Deborah Butterfield, you can touch that and experience it, and children are taking, they take their pictures in front of it, and there's a sense of being able to be a part of it that I think is very unusual. And
right, you're so true, because museums, it's definitely like look from afar.
Right.
And this is be part of it, right?
Yeah, and even in the galleries, it's be part of it. You're supposed to walk around things and interact and walk up the stairs to the experience room. I just think it was so thoughtfully done in terms of that and how you're forcing people to interact with stuff.
So I got to ask you, Sara, so what are you working on now that you may want to be doing something special with Kohler again?
Oh.
Come on.
Well, I have to be careful. I can only talk about so many things. But
I know. But doesn't it, okay, my point is that once you sort of dive into this creative relationship, like, don't you want to do more?
Oh, yeah. And look, as soon as we've had a good relationship and a good experience, we just want to keep continuing that, because, that's not always our experience. So when it goes well, and it goes well from every single different perspective of it, it's huge. It's a win for us, and it's a win for Kohler, and it's a win for the client.
And Donna, don't you think, just in terms of being a creative, you're an industrial designer, like that you will have these projects, they're kind of like, problem solving and artistic. Isn't it so much fun that this is created?
Absolutely. And every project is different. Every project is its own like magic happening here. So yeah, we love Create with Kohler.
Yay, we love Create with Kohler. Okay, well, first of all, I want to thank both of you. Amazing project, amazing collaboration. We say that it's always about the relationship, right? And when you have those kind of clients who will allow for it, and have a company like Kohler that really want to know you and know your business and like help you move design forward, I mean, you can't get better than that, right?
Yeah, no, that's the ultimate.
Right, that's the ultimate. All right, well, we're going to leave on the ultimate note with Create with Kohler. And our good friends, Donna Morales from Kohler, Sara Duffy, thank you so much. Incredible project. Can't wait to share it with everybody. I'm sending you virtual hugs. And go forth and design, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.